There's every indication tonight that residents at 3 mobile home parks in Fargo and West Fargo may have to get rid of their pets. Specifically, people living in the Brookwood countryside and Riviera Heights communities will no longer be able to have dogs considered dangerous breeds. That includes pit bulls, Rottweilers, German Shepherds, and Huskies, to name a few. The mobile home parks were recently sold to new owners, but some neighbors have been calling our whistleblower hotline with concerns. Valley News Team's Melanie Palmer picks it up from there.
Meet Molly. She's a Staffordshire Terrier. She lives with Mark, who didn't want us to use his real name. They all live in the Brookwood Mobile Home Park for now.
They're part of the family, you know, and most people consider their pets part of the family.
We say for now because their park has been sold and they now have to sign a new lease by October 1st. But that lease bans dogs like Molly. In fact, the lease spells out what they call dangerous breeds and which ones specifically will not be allowed.
The dogs I have, they're not dangerous, you know.
They're sweet and they're loving.
But one man in Brookwood is trying to put a stop to this idea. Travis Laub showed us a copy of the lease he says he got from the leasing office. He took to Facebook sharing screenshots of what's inside. He's also been reaching out to the city and even lawmakers for help.
The biggest concerns are the animal list.
But he says there's not a whole lot that can be done since the mobile home park is privately owned. We did some digging to see if West Fargo or Fargo have any policies when it comes to owning certain breeds. Turns out they don't, but in Fargo, if you own a dog that is considered dangerous, you have to follow certain protocols, like not allowing them outside at certain times. As for Molly, uncertainty fills her future. But you can bet her owners will likely move before having to get rid of their dog that is much more than just a pet to them.
You just don't discard part of your family.
In West Fargo, Melanie Palmer, Valley News Live. Now, Andrea, we brought these concerns to the new owners of the mobile home park. They say that legally their hands are tied, pointing the finger at insurance companies and governmental agencies that have named these breeds as dangerous. Adding, insurance providers refuse to insure any community if there are, quote, vicious breeds in the park. They also said it's illegal to grandfather anyone in. However, they did say pets over 40 pounds are allowed as long as the owner is able to show liability insurance, and of course, it can't be one of the listed breeds. So point blank, what it comes down to for these residents is they either have to find a new home for their dogs if they're included in that dangerous breed list, or they have to move. Andrea?
All right. Thank you, Melanie. As for the residents who have not gotten a copy of the new lease in the mail yet, officials say with the new ownership, the last leases were mailed out yesterday. If you need help uncovering fraud and corruption in your community, call our whistleblower hotline and we'll do our best to get to the bottom of it. Call 237-6576 and leave your tip. A member of our investigative team will get on the case and go to work to expose the truth. Finally, some of us are seeing the rain move out, but there's still plenty of it for others in the valley. Let's check on the exit strategy with Hutch in No Wait Weather. Hutch?
Yeah, we're going to be contending with continuing passing showers, light to moderate at times, and in some areas heavy. We're seeing reduced visibilities in places as well, down to as low as 3/4 of a mile at times. Right now, that's what the visibility is reported to be in Fergus Falls. Some thunder and lightning southwest of Fargo. We have some in the Park Rapids area as well. Otherwise, it's just garden variety showers from Towner County straight down through Stutsman County. Here's the thunder that's near Lisbon and in parts of eastern Barnes County, working its way off to the east. There's showers heading towards Bemidji once again. One has just passed through. Rainfall, by the way, in Fargo, 45 100ths at the airport, over 6/10 reported earlier in the day in Moorhead. Kindred, estimated by radar to be around 1/2 inch with heavier rain in the Devil's Lake Basin. Passing showers, clouds, wind, and temperatures in the cool 50s tonight up and down the valley. Bring your umbrella to your outdoor plans. I'll tell you when this rain does begin to exit, Andrea, here in just a moment.
All right. Thanks, Hutch.
She broke her neck at the C1 and C2 level. For most adults, that would have been instant death. But she didn't die. She lived.
Back in 2015, 3-year-old Havana Bodell was paralyzed after a drunk driver hit her family's car. Her family says the crash broke her neck and left her paralyzed, but she didn't die because she was in a car seat. And now Havana has learned to walk again. To create more success stories like Havana's, Minnesota State Troopers are taking part in Click It or Ticket extra enforcement campaign. The campaign starts this Monday and runs through the 28th. We have an update to Minnesota's new hands-free law. The State Patrol says in the first month the law was in place, troopers stopped more than 2,100 drivers for being on their phones. A West Fargo child care is forced to close its doors after a Human Services cited multiple concerns in a report first sent to us by a whistleblower. The report lists many claims involving inappropriate discipline at Tiny Town Child Care, and visits from Cass County Social Services ultimately found the daycare to be short-staffed. The whistleblower who first reached out to us says she saw red flags while interviewing the daycare for her child. But owner Tiffany Bashaw says the claims are inaccurate.
Everybody's short-staffed. Everybody needs help in every aspect, everywhere. It's very hard to find people when you have to do fingerprint checks. Right now, it's about 6 weeks out to get their fingerprints back.
Bashaw says she plans to appeal the decision. In the meantime, she's handing over management to another supervisor, and she plans to work at the daycare as soon as it's reopened. As of now, there is no set date for that to happen. It started in April 2018 when the Human Service Research Institute created a 65-item list of how the state could improve its behavioral health system. Now lawmakers are taking the recommendations seriously. $4 million went to expand the Free Through Recovery program. This program started with people in the corrections system and trying to help them fight substance abuse. Now it's going to be extended to people outside the corrections system. Some of the $28 million increase went to fighting the opioid crisis and early intervention services. The Department of Human Services says now the focus is getting prevention, treatment, and recovery services closer to where people live.
When we look at serving individuals close to home, that impacts that whole continuum. So when we look at, people staying with their natural supports, that's also going to, help prevent criminal justice involvement, which is another priority area.
Anderson expects community-based services will have the biggest changes over the next 18 months. This has not been a good year for the trucking industry. Nationwide, more firms have shut down in the first 6 months than in all of last year. In the first half of 2019, 640 freight companies closed, which took more than 20,000 trucks off the road. The president of Midwest Motor Express, headquartered in Bismarck, says tariffs and expenses are to blame.
You really have to keep your finger on the pulse on a day-to-day basis with your expenses to stay, abreast or ahead of the ever-changing, ever-evolving trucking environment.
Experts say these challenges may cause hundreds of more companies and truckers to be out of business by the end of the year. The air you breathe can affect how violent you are, according to new research out of the University of Minnesota. The study found that breathing dirty air, even for just one day, can cause people to become more aggressive and violent. That may be because air pollution can escalate a person's fight or flight stress response, turning everyday inconveniences into serious physical fights. Later on Valley News Live at 6, expert tips on how you can keep you and your family safe during emergencies.
And a spiraling area of low pressure continues to slowly move through the valley. Our rain chances continue, but it will be on its way out. I'll have hour-by-hour details on what you can expect in your forecast right straight ahead.